Hey everybody, Fifth Horseman here, playing more Kerbal Space Program, and today we are gonna launch a base to Minmus. I have installed MKS-OKS. I have no immediate plans to utilize any of the parts that I have magically unlocked because they were on the tech tree. Maybe our first off-world, like off-Kerbin Moon and Minmus base, our Duna base, I'll look into those. I literally just installed it this morning, and I haven't had a chance to even look at it. But before all that, I actually already pre-built the Minmus base. And it's this guy. If you're wondering why he's on wheels, that's because the guys who want me to build an outpost on Minmus wanted wheels on it. So I said, you know what? Let's do it. It's pretty simple for how crazy it is. I'm not going to show you too much of it, but I do utilize fuel things here, and I've got tons of fuel in this tank, or both of these tanks, and what I have here is good speed fuel pumps. I've got these guys turned on, and with their auto pump on, basically we're using these as extra fuel storage for the big engines on the bottom, which are mainsails. We love our mainsails. I tried to do this with smaller engines, and I tried to do it with solids and things like that, and just nothing outshone the mainsail. So I decided to invest in two of them as our main lifting thing. These engines here are also on the ship. We'll show it to you. The people who are going to be flying in this thing are not Leg Dig, trying to get on the ship. We are going to put Alexander for. Actually, we're going to put Encro on first. Encro gets to go, and that's this slot here. He's actually going down to the surface because we want an engineer in case we break one of these wheels. Although I don't think he can actually fix wheels because he doesn't have any experience. But that's actually a good reason to send Blizzy, to be honest. But Blizzy is already gone somewhere. So, Alexander, you get to fly up in the main ship. I do have both an engineering chip on here somewhere. At least I think I do. And I also have a probe core buried. And actually, the probe core on this guy is the structural thing holding the carbonite drill on. So that's kind of interesting. I also, just so you see it, used the tweakables, used the widget here to slide this slightly over so it is perfectly centered on this stack, which is really cool. I love that about the widgets. And I'll explain later why I have two of these instead of a separator. 3, 2, 1, launch. And this thing's a little slow off the pad, 1.43, but as the Apollo missions taught us, fuel is cheap. So just carrying a lot of fuel and kind of suffering a bit on the thrust weight at the beginning is actually pretty helpful. Now, as I said, the fuel is draining out of these guys very quickly. We just want to get rid of it so that we're carrying a lighter thing, but we didn't want to have to carry, this saved us carrying an extra orange tank to get this thing into orbit. Then the fuel from these guys is going to drain, and they don't have any engines under them, so we're just pure savings of weight is what's going on here. We don't have to worry about this at all. And these are going to drain out actually right about the same time we get up to 10K, which we're at now, so we're going to dump the tanks and do our gravity turn. We're going to do the old cheesy kind of a heavy crank here, just because I like it when my apoapsis is at each even numbered one to be at the next major tick. And this is 18 and then 20's here. This guy's going to lose a little bit on the thrust away. I shouldn't say a little bit. He's going to lose a lot on the thrust away when we get him into orbit. So what we want to do here is we want to make sure we're out of the thick stuff before we lose the mainsails. And we're at 30 here, so I'm actually going to crank it over. But normally I would crank it down to 20 when we got to 45. But I'm not going to do that. We're not going to crank it down until we get all the way up to, or I'm sorry, 20 we crank down to at 40. 10 we normally crank down to at 45. I'm actually going to not crank down to 10 until we're at 50. And then I'm not going to go down to the horizon until we're at 60. And that's all apoapsis. And the reason for that is just to give the mainsails a little bit of extra time, because once they're gone, our thrust to weight goes down to 0.78. And we have 1 minute and 47 seconds before the apoapsis, and that is plenty of time to get this guy into orbit. Might as well turn it so it looks the part driving on the planet here. And you know that our time to apoapsis is actually going up. Once I get this up to about, we'll say 80, I'm going to actually cut the engines. And we're basically out of the atmosphere. But I want to see what these engines can do as far as getting this guy up at the thing here. What is this going to take? 40 seconds. See, that's not great, but it's definitely not bad. Oh, and we can also bring out the solar panels here. Oh. Yeah, most of these solar panels are here specifically for the benefit of the Karbonite drill. These two are just for fun. And also, I'm going to show you here something important. We have a contract that we're cheating on. Build a new orbital station around Kerbin. Note we have all this green except for put your station in orbit. As soon as we make orbit, we're just going to get this contract and make all the money for it. And that's a great way to cheat extra money if you're trying to do this, especially if you're playing on hard mode or something. It's gonna give you those contracts like whenever you want to place a base anywhere. Wait until you also have a similar base in orbit around Kerbin, because you're going to be getting an orbit around Kerbin anyway, so just go ahead and do it. Okay, the solar panels wobbled a little bit, but they are otherwise perfectly content. Makes me happy. We're basically watching our time to apoapsis here, making sure it never gets below 0, but we also want to make sure that it doesn't shoot up really high. And, oh, that's negative. I was like, how come it says we're almost there? Okay, it's now below 0 because it just jumped up. Aim up a little bit. Things won't get too bad. There we go. And we're almost in orbit. 67, 70, there we go. 81 by A79. That is perfectly fine. Okay, we're going to get these guys to Minmus now. This thing really doesn't have the reaction wheels to support this endeavor. However, it has enough to get the job done. And it's all going to be sitting still once we get everything in place. So why spend the money? I'm actually really surprised that we haven't intersected Minmus yet, like everything said we would. Okay, there's our... There we go. Now I'm going to use the RCS jets to just tap us forward until we're really close to Minmus. That'll do it. Okay, meet you at Minmus. Or actually, you know what? Why should we wait? Why not launch the next ship right now? Okay, we got this contract to test the stack separator landed at Kerbin for 90 science. So I'm just going to take that. We'll throw it on the bottom of the ship. Okay, and this ship does use SRBs. And it's all it is. This is what is going to be picking up Karbonite from Minmus and bringing it. It also is using big engines, but it's using skippers, not mainsails. The poor unlucky sod. Actually, have I set my? I did not set my action group. I'm enjoying putting solar panels in the abort group. I think I'm going to actually do that from now on. But the poor Kerbal who is stuck on this thing is going to be Freak. You are freaking out, Freak. You are going to fly this thing. Don't worry, there is a probe core in there, so you don't have to control it manually. It's basically the SRBs carry this thing way up, and then the skippers get it into mostly orbit, and then the little dinky 48-7Ss on the bottom here get it all the way to Minmus and back. And I totally forgot to put the stack separator on it, so we'll test that later. Let's turn the computer on, turn the HUD off. Let's go ahead and launch. Again with the slow liftoff. I'm actually going to turn RCS on because we have absolutely no control with these SRBs, and we're gonna let the RCS jets keep us at least mostly upright. Their entire job is to keep the SRBs from screwing up our launch. You notice they're not doing a very good job, but they are keeping us from flipping out and crashing into the ocean. Which I'm going to say is a good thing. This guy's going to get loud when I hit the spacebar. because those 48.7S's, it's funny, the 48.7S is one of the smallest engines in the game, is also one of the loudest. These engines here are almost done. There we go. And now we actually have control. Okay, they did their job. They got us 8 kilometers up in the air and going very, very fast. Although our speed is lowering, which is actually good because we were above atmospheric conditions. The ship seems to have a little bit of a turn to it. I thought it was the RCS jets, but apparently I'm wrong. Not a big deal. It's also very loud because the 48.7S is, like I said, these huge skippers, no problem. But the 48.7S's, oh, I'm sorry, they're way too loud. We've also got some fun going on with the fuel pumps. You'll notice that these are actually pumping into these to give them more fuel because we actually want to hold on to them longer. And we're going to do something similar to what we did before with the other ship, which is we're going to go, when we get to 40 up here, we're going to send this thing down to 20. But then when we get to 50, or when we get to 45, we're not going to go here. We're going to wait until we get to 50. And then when we get to 60 up here, 48.7S's are going to kick out pretty soon here. We're going to go to the horizon now. And we're going to push our apoapsis up to about 90. And then I'm gonna cut the engines. Oops, it's at 100. I was not paying attention. Okay, now these guys, I'm going to put them all the way up to level 8. And I'm going to turn on pumping to pump all the fuel out of them. Now they should be empty. They are. So we're going to say goodbye. Now I'm going to hit Z here for a second. That's just to get a benchmark of how fast we're going. Because I need to know, when we get up to apoapsis, how much we have to burn to get into orbit. Which is roughly that. Which is 1 minute and 17 seconds. Not too shabby. And you'll notice now that we dropped the mainsails, we have 4 grand in the tank. So even though it looks like we're really low on fuel, actually it doesn't look like we're really low on fuel. We're actually really good on fuel. It looked like we were really low on fuel when we had the mainsail, or the skippers on there. It doesn't quite look that bad now. Okay, we're also going to rotate this guy so that up is up. Because that's the way we like it on the nav ball when we're flying. Also, I want to show off here. I put 2 batteries on here and I clipped them. Really cool looking. They look like one device with 4 batteries on it, but no, that's 2 batteries, or it's 4 batteries, I should say, 4. And I've also got the engineering thing over here, which is nice. I sunk it in. I'm really enjoying the clippy tool, whatever you want to call it. We're also going to hit backspace. Whoa, 20 seconds before. That was a mistake on my part. I will own up to that. We're going to tilt up a little bit. We're going to keep our time to apoapsis from getting too low. Okay, we're in orbit. Which is always nice. And 102 by 103. I'm going to call that good. Okay, yeah, these 48.7S's do not use that much fuel, which is awesome. And as I'm going to show you here, this is all the fuel we need to land this thing empty on Minmus. These are going to then fill up with fuel at the base, and then the whole thing is gonna come up from Minmus and dock with the station, and then be ready to go back down for more. Oh, good, we got a moon encounter. I was hoping for that. Let's add a conic sample or 2 here. There we go. All we really care about is our eventual Minmus encounter. Sadly, our moon encounter is screwing up our thing here, so we're just gonna have to screw around. Once we get this burn, we'll fix it here. So that looks pretty good. And these struts are here because these are actually attached to here and then brought down. So there's like only one little dicky attachment point, and I didn't really like how small that was, so I've decided to add these struts so that these engines don't make this thing wobble. Okay, and it says it's a 4 minute and 13 second burn, so we want to go down to about 2 minutes and 6 seconds. And I'll see you on the other side. One nice thing about this ship, it flies perfectly fine at 4 times time warp, as long as you don't try to steer. And now that we're getting closer, I've gone out of time warp. We're 20 seconds away. Or meters per second away, and we're 5 meters per second away now. 0.8. Okay, let's turn the RCS on and thrust forward. Should see our orbit. We don't see our orbit. Okay, let's delete this. See what this says. Why is it always need more? I'm not sure. Let's see what that looks like. That looks pretty good. I'm going to give it one more love tap here. Okay, a couple more love taps. We're just going to get it really close like this, then we'll fix it once we get a little bit farther out. Probably once we pass Moon. There we go. Okay, that'll do it. 8.3 meters per second. Oops, I want to turn off RCS because that will affect this greatly here. And it's in about an hour, so let's go ahead and go to it. It's not doing anything close to what it says it's going to do. There we go. It's amazing what a little dinky change means to where the direction your orbit goes. But that right there looks pretty golden. I'm going to say that's perfect. That's going to bring us in 20 kilometers off the surface, which is awesome. Okay. Now we have one more ship to launch, but we don't need to launch him from Kerbin. And that's because it's Lyowen, who has to go to... what's it called? He's got to go to Minmus from Moon with this ship with 1,400 meters per second in the tank. I would kind of like it to be daylight when you take off. There it is. Okay, and you are going to take off. Oh, we left this on. Jeb, you haven't gone EVA yet. This is one of the last things these guys are ever going to do. That's why I'm not letting Lyowen do it, because Lyowen has a future in this space program. Jeb, Bill, and Bob are going to sit on Moon forever, and the chances of us needing more carbonite off of the surface are pretty low, actually. Let's go ahead and just attach this here. I don't even want to walk him up there. Go ahead and get in there. Okay, Lyowen, this is your show. We are going to launch up into the east. Mostly watching my apoapsis. I wanted to get up to about 10 before I cut the engines. Always aware of that crater wall there that we have to get over, but it looks like we will. Okay, apoapsis at 10. Cleared the crater wall, which is always nice. There we go, 10 by 13. That's good enough for me. Now we want to go to Minmus. Yeah, see, we're basically at the worst time to do this. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use my pork chop plotter. We want to go from Moon to Minmus. Sure, 100 by 100. Go ahead and plot this. Here's our window here. It's in year 1, day 74. Oh, it's 2 days away. Let's go ahead and add a Kerbal alarm clock alarm. 2 days, 1 hour, and 21 minutes. I'll see you then. Yeah, so I was fast forwarding, and this came up, and apparently I don't have those alarms set to stop the thing, so it just blew right past it. So I'm going to have to make a new one. Let's go ahead and go to the pork chop plotter. Go from moon to Minmus. Let's go ahead and plot that. And here we go. Let's go ahead and add this Kerbal alarm clock alarm. It's in 2 days and 4 hours. We're going to say pause the game and give us a message. There we go. And let's go ahead. Can we tell this to general properties, alarm clock integration? Oh, there we go. Make it a pause. Alarm clock integration. I want to click on the pause, but when I do, it jumps. There we go. If I held down the clicky button, it did that. That is hilarious. Okay, margin of 24 hours is way too much. Let's go with a margin of 1 hour. Okay, Lylin, we are minutes away from our best encounter here. We're just going to make this other burn here. Of course, it's going to be on the next orbit. So we're going to be behind, but who cares about that? Is this really going to do it? If we burn north here? Not even close. Well, that looks actually not so horrible. As far as the time to do it is concerned. Hey, we got an encounter. Somehow. I do not think this is what the transfer window planner had in mind. Oh, I could have actually taken that crew report for area GZZZO Gizizo. 205 meters per second is about, wow, it's exactly a quarter of this. So we're going to need to burn for 15 seconds. That is one of the easiest calculations I ever figured out. Oh, you know what? With this here, this base being here, we are going to fly right over a lunar arch. Right there it is. See it? Can't really get a good view of it because we're flying right over it, but there it is. It's where's the base? I've lost the base. All the base are not belong to me. Oh, I know why I have done the base. There it is. Yeah, the base is basically directly south of this thing. Base, basically, directly south of this arch. We're flying right over it. There it is. Just kind of cool. Okay. That should be close enough. Yeah, let's go ahead and kill this. Now, we should have to fiddle with this just a little bit. Actually, we still have our encounter with Minmus. But we lost the closeness of it, which I would really like to get back. Changing the time doesn't seem to matter. Radial like that does. Okay, and it's a tiny, tiny burn. Bye-bye, moon. Sorry we couldn't take your carbonite, but somebody else got it. Okay, we have a very small burn here in a couple minutes. I'm going to, the best of my ability, do it exactly. Because these are the ones that really matter. That you hit them exactly. Okay, now if we turn this off, we have a fantastic Minmus encounter because I was very sure. Let's see. And yeah, Minmus periapsis right around 60. That is beautiful. Okay, we're full sun. Don't know where Minmus is. Don't care. Oh, there's Minmus, actually. I do care where Minmus is, and it's right there. And we have a collision, which I'm going to say is bad. So we want to burn. Let's just use the maneuver node. We want to burn. We want to burn this way, which is towards the center of the planet and north. Which should be kind of this way-ish. If we burn like this, that should do it. Yep. I want to kind of burn more south, though. That's north. Ugh. Why don't I listen to myself? There we go. Okay, we now have a periapsis. Let's make it be about, say, 20. I think we're going to orbit at about 20 or 24. Let's orbit over 20 and see what that does. You're going to go down there and you're going to see how fast we can time warp at that orbit. The sun is passing away. We got plenty of electric charge though because I remembered the batteries. I hit the wrong button. I was hitting Z. Okay, flip yourself around. Let's speed up a little bit. Luckily, you have plenty of fuel. There we go. 22 by 20. We're going to live with that. Okay, you have successfully made orbit, so let's go ahead and jump to the Karbonite base. Okay, this could be more south. And more radially away. Let's see where radially away is. Is it this way? I always choose wrong. I chose correctly. So let's go ahead and do this. Okay, that's pretty equatorial now. Considering we're coming in pretty high. So now we just want to burn away to get it up to 20. I know we're a crazy looking ship, but it works. Okay, I got my finger on X this time instead of Z. And we should be in a pretty good 12 by... Is it seriously? Apoapsis of 20, periapsis of 12. Yep. I went too far. Okay, I'm going to fix it with RCS. No, I'm not. It takes forever. Actually, we should do this at our actual apoapsis here. 21 by 20. Perfectly good by me. Okay, we got 13 days before Lyowan gets here in order to set up this base. Honestly, I'm tired. I'm gonna call end of run here. But next episode, we're going to hook. We're gonna get this guy down on the surface. We are going to bring the other guy over here and dock him to one of these. Then we are also going to get Lyowan down there. He's going to fill up with Karbonite and go home. Everything's going to be fun. I hope you enjoyed watching this. I definitely enjoyed playing it. I'm just burned out, as usual. I am Fifth Horseman, and I will, as always, talk at you later.